Rising Chancellor of Belgian University of Technology also for the outstanding leadership. And still, for the outstanding leadership that he has put forward in the service of this country, and is very evident in the quality of the graduates that Bells has produced over the years. I can say
while standing on existing protocols, let me say that the day has finally come when you raise your heads high, happily inducted into the Nigerian Society of Engineers. A great addition you are to a noble body of problem solvers and nation builders. While I say congratulations, I must give you a wake-up call for two reasons. Number one, because to whom much is given, much more is expected. And number two, because the world you were in when you began your academic journey is no longer the one that you are being released into. I mean, you must agree with me that there was nothing like ChatGPT when you were writing your UTME or your WAEC back then. I mean, they may not, because some of them might be freshers, but for those of you that are graduating, you had to buy textbooks, you had to Google, you had to do the work yourself. But now, today, even your 12-year-old sibling is able to operate ChatGPT, Meta AI, Claude, and the likes of them. The world is now one where we see videos and we are no longer sure whether it is real or it is AI generated. You agree? It's getting scary. Before, 6 months ago, you will see a video, you will know it's AI because it will be flawed, it will have some flaws. But now, it's not possible for this to happen, but there is no evidence. The video is now very clear, and there has become a slogan in Nigeria today where people say, I know it's fake, but I can't prove it. I wonder how the court of law will handle that kind of statement. AI has come to stay, and there is no going back. It's already too late. Even for those who insist on not using AI, I tell you that AI is using you already because you are data for the best of AI solutions. How do you think that some of these AI platforms understand our language? You send voice notes to your people, you think that we're not using it to learn? Even our educational system is not spared. So much fear has already been expressed by renowned academics about how, the most basic courseworks that students are given to help them study are now being solved with the use of large language models such as ChatGPT. But for me, the fear is even greater than assignments. My fear is of a future where engineers would rely on AI to perform the most basic tasks such as supervision, documentation, or system design. When I say documentation, imagine I develop a solution, maybe a vehicle that is so unique, and I try to use AI to summarize every information about this vehicle that will be required for safety and operation. And I use AI to generate that documentation, and it omits one important aspect of the safety rules. What would happen when there is a disaster, and then I can't lay claim to having designed that manual? So clearly, we fear for that future. While we certainly hope to see more accurate AI systems, we cannot rule out the critical role of humans in the loop. You're going to be hearing that phrase a lot more now, humans in the loop, because AI is trying to become more and more autonomous, but people are insisting that the humans must still be in the loop of that decision making. However, it is the role of engineers to support the advancement of AI systems. Permit me to share with you a story of mine. Several years ago, I decided to take my car for a wash. And then the washerman asked me, would you like us to steam wash the engine? I said, well, I've heard of that before, never tried it, go ahead. Let me also feel like someone who is taking the technical and all that. So they went ahead and they washed my engine with steam, according to them. I wasn't there, but I excused them. But when I went back there and I tried to move my car, it refused to start. And then I realized when I called the mechanic that the spark plug had become wet with water. So here's the paradox. The spark plug at that time, maybe still now, was very important in the life of any vehicle. For a car to move, for the engine to be powered, that spark plug hidden inside the car, the engine, must be up and doing. And that was my first encounter with the idea of a spark plug in a combustion engine. And since that day I've been marveled about how critical the role of that spark plug is. Without the spark plug there will be no movement. But the paradox is that if you throw that spark plug today to an electric vehicle, which of course is burgeoning today, it becomes meaningless, pointless and useless. The spark plug, which was once the cornerstone of the vehicle, will soon become a thing of the past as we develop electrical vehicles to save the environment. So as the world advances in technology, it will become difficult for some organizations to continue to grow unless they metamorphose in order to maintain relevance. Even the company that produces spark plugs is now producing batteries, preparing for the time when batteries will be more in use for cars than spark plugs. So if they are metamorphosing, why shouldn't we? Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished inductees, despite all that I have said above, what if I tell you that we still need spark plugs in electric vehicles? I know that the graduates in our midst will be like, no, you don't need spark plugs in electric vehicles, calm down. You see, I insist. In reality, what is a spark plug? It's a simple device that you will find in any fuel combustion engine, whether it's a car, a motorcycle, or generator, that combusts fuel, any engine that combusts fuel, it has two electrodes close to each other. One is curved and the other is pointed. When an electrical charge is discharged to it, a short circuit occurs between the electrodes and it sparks. For the spark of the spark plug to be effective, it must happen in the presence of what? Fuel. This act is what pushes the piston of the engine into expansion, causing the engine to be alive and run. As long as that spark happens at the right time and at the right place, the engine would work. For every big engine you see running today, there is a spark plug making that happen. But you see, as the world is being disrupted with tech innovations, the urgent need to protect the environment being alive, organizations are doing away with spark plugs and embracing renewable energy. But in this discussion, we're actually not talking about vehicles. The spark plug in the vehicle, in the electric vehicle, is you. The spark plug in the electric vehicle is the mind that sparks the innovation. We are not talking about electric vehicles, like I said. So, ask yourself the question, what type of spark plug do you want to be? For the many years that Nigerian universities have been releasing engineering graduates into the world, into the market, into the economy, this particular age we are in represents the most critical period of our nation's history. All nations are now in a heavy competition for resources, be it financial, mineral, skilled human resources. Our economy needs all our experts firing from all cylinders. You are the spark plug that the nation needs if we must move forward and fast. Whether in energy, in electricity, bad roads that we see sometimes around the country that need to be repaired, whether it's the hospitals that need to be equipped and functional, whether it's even the government that needs to operate efficiently, or even the food supply chain, we need the best of the spark plugs energizing the sectors. But of what use is a spark plug that cannot find its spark? You see some graduates today, at some point during their graduation ceremony, they were happy, believing that yes, they are going to become engineers and develop solutions for the world. But if you check on them today, they are not practicing their initial goal, which was engineering. They are performing things that have nothing to do with their calling, nothing to do with their zeal of 5 years ago. So I say to you, for you to be relevant as engineers, you have to discover your spark. You have to do what? You have to what? You have to discover your facts. I do not care whether you ought to have finished with a first class but ended up with a 2-1, or whether you ought to have at least survived with a 2-2 but ended up with a pass. I don't care. The world out there is ruled by those who have the passion and know what to do to get things done. I go with the slogan, hard work, brain work, and teamwork, any day, anytime. I believe you can redefine your goals, your fulfillment, and your trajectory from now onwards. Do not wait until you leave this room. Right here at this moment, in this hall, make that decision to renew the spark inside of you. I say this because in life, the fuel can be in surplus, which is money, funding, opportunities, and all of that. But without the spark in you, there is nowhere you can go. Even if your spark is there, but the timing is wrong, you cannot get anywhere. Ask yourself, are you inspired to remain as an engineer? Even when there are no opportunities out there, will you create opportunities? I came back to Nigeria because many people were saying there are no jobs in Nigeria unless you have connection, unless you have a first class, unless that. So I said, I don't believe all that story. There are no jobs in Nigeria, maybe, but there are problems in Nigeria, and in every problem lies an opportunity. You have to be the one to create business out of the opportunities that we see around us. So while some people complain, you should come with a plan. Now, let me paint a picture of the world we are living in today. A world that is moving so fast that it has become very difficult for any academic curriculum to catch up with. Virtual reality and augmented reality. In some professions today, you cannot begin to operate on the real system. For example, pilots, you cannot begin to operate on an actual plane unless you have been trained on a simulation of a virtual reality model of that system. We need that particular routine in every profession. We need people that can build a virtual reality model for every training we see in the world today. Autonomous drones. Now we have seen with the wars across the world how drones have played a prominent role. But even beyond wars, for transportation of medical supplies, for supporting farmers on large farms, and for other things, drones are a critical component. And there are not enough experts in drone technology. What we have in Nigeria are people who have interest in building drones. You see young people saying, I have built this drone, I have built that drone. But the industry will not absorb those drones because they are not yet built to standard. It is the graduates and the graduate engineers that can decide to take what has been done by those in the rural areas, the youths in the rural areas, and improve on it to meet the standards expected of graduates in engineering. Then there is underwater and underground robots. To maintain the ships on the sea, to maintain the oil vessels and the oil rigs, underwater, well, we call them drones actually, underwater robots are required. But in Nigeria, we don't produce this at all. And it is something that can be done. But let me even tell you that when it comes to underwater robots, the greatest challenge is how can we transmit power, energy, wirelessly underwater? How can we transmit communication signals wirelessly underwater so that we don't have to always tether the robots underwater? And that is still a big area of research that many countries in the world are looking into. We have so many of these innovations. In the area of civil engineering, you can look at China, for example, how they build houses, bridges in few days or weeks, and still to standard. We have that challenge, whether it is 3D for house printing, for house development, and so on. In the medical field, there is gene editing to help generations remove certain hereditary ailments in their bloodline. And there is also quantum computing for those in computer engineering that is helping to improve the speed at which we process data in the world of today. These innovations I've talked about started with someone somewhere asking the question, what if I do this? And taking it up as his own role. Discover your role. How do you start the journey of innovation? Number one, you must learn to communicate with people. If you are so good in what you do but you don't communicate, nobody is going to recognize you. Make use of the social media, LinkedIn, for example, to speak about your knowledge, your career, the things you are doing, and people will find you. We have people in government today that are looking for experts but don't know where to go, because those that lobby around them are not the best of the best. But to find you, they might go on LinkedIn and discover you, but if you're not there, you won't be recognized. Communication goes beyond making yourself open out there. It also has to do with attending conferences, attending events, networking with people. And this we have a lot of across the country, from hackathons to summits and the like. Number two, you have to seek for knowledge from far and from wide. I would always say to you that it's not a crime to go abroad, go to US, China, Australia, Europe, to study for your master's or PhD. It's not a crime. But what will be unfair is if you don't come back to give back to the country, to the nation that built you. I know many Nigerians will say, no, once I leave Nigeria, I'm not coming back. But what you don't know is that Nigeria is not the one creating the problems you see. It is Nigerians who fail to do the right thing that are creating these problems. And the only people that can fix it are who? Nigerians. So we shouldn't leave the country and never come back. As you japa, you must what? Japada. Number three, always come back to impact your country, as I've said. When you come back, do not think about what jobs are waiting for you. Somebody was asking me some days ago that, how can I be relevant? I'm an AI expert. I've been doing so much in the AI space. I work remotely for companies abroad. I'm the one helping them to build the AI that Google is using. And I said, well, you might be so relevant in a company, but what is your community development program? What are you doing to impact those in your community? We have so many youths today, they are so skilled that they work remotely for companies abroad. And we don't even see their brake lights here in Nigeria. They might be working in the US, in Nigeria, so during the day they are asleep, during the night they are awake. And there is no other interaction with the community they live in. We want to see more of you graduates, when you start working, looking at how you can build those coming behind you. Sometimes I feel very sad when I see young people in remote areas that wish to learn, but don't have the capacity or even the exposure. But there are some young Nigerians like you who go around looking at how to motivate people, because we're in a world where information is key, and some of them just need the right information to know what to study and how to take it. In Nigeria, we have 200 million people with problems to solve. That's 200 million potential customers for your innovations, your infrastructure gaps. The young population we have is an energy for you to build on. What more green grass do you need with all of these things we see around us? Even foreigners are rushing here to Nigeria, to West Africa, to tap into these opportunities. Truly, there are genuine concerns, insecurity, lack of jobs, power issues, and so much more. But this is the essence of today's gathering, to launch the solutions to our numerous challenges as a nation. And that solution is you. So today, the Nigerian Society of Engineers is at Bells University of Technology to receive new SparkPlugs to rekindle the engine of our nation's growth. But not just any kind of SparkPlugs. At Bells University, you will get unique SparkPlugs. As I have experienced, Bells University offers SparkPlugs that will remain relevant even when the world switches to electric vehicles. Bells University offers SparkPlugs that when their electrodes corrode, they self-clean and reinvent themselves. Is that correct? SparkPlugs that are adaptable to any type of engine, whether it is old or new, simple or complex, local or global. Bells University SparkPlugs are the best we can find. And so, to the inductees of today, represent these unique SparkPlugs that Bells is inducting today. I present to you the solution to Nigeria's challenges, the bridge between what is and what could be, the innovators of Africa's digital transformation. Let me charge you today. Go out there. Go beyond the comfortable. Go to where the problems are real and urgent. In other words, don't try to influence your NYSC posting. Go to where the problems are real and urgent. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Own your own spark. Be the spark. Keep that fire burning, no matter what. We are all rooting for you. Congratulations and welcome to the Nigerian Society of Engineers.
Please put your hands together for him again. Please put your hands together for him again. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for that inspiring words. Thank you. So, moving on, next agenda now is